Hi guys, welcome to larissawhat.com and my first interview. So this is very exciting. I have Dr. V.Grubacevic today coming to chat to us about neuro-linguistic programming. And it's going to be very interesting to see how this could benefit you in regards to lifestyle change, habit change, that sort of thing to make yourself healthier. So Dr. V.Grubacevic is the founder of award-winning company QT, at which she's a performance transformation expert. She's an internationally recognised and certified NLP and hypnotherapy trainer, master practitioner and clinical hypnotherapist. She has her PhD in clinical hypnotherapy and Bachelor of Economics, extensively attributes articles and media commentary. She's a very sought after and innovative speaker and is the creator of breakthrough behavioural change techniques. Wow! Vesna, thank you very much for making your time to come and chat to us today.
Thank you, Larissa. It's a pleasure to be here.
That's great. So you've got a lot of stuff on your list there.
I've been busy.
Busy, a few years of education there, I see. Lovely. So we're here today to talk about how NLP can benefit people in behavioural change, changing your habits every day to create a healthier lifestyle or to overcome things to achieve greater goals, that sort of thing. So Vesna, what exactly is NLP?
NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and simply it's how you can reprogram your thinking for better behaviour and better success in life, whether it be in your health, habits, or just generally in all areas.
Cool. So how does that transform for me, the everyday person just wanting to get a bit healthier?
Okay, so often people have negative self-talk, for example. They will use a whole bunch of excuses that prevent them from taking action on exercising, eating healthy, and so forth. For example, they may say it's too cold to exercise, so that could then hold them back from actually make the time to exercise, and that could then sabotage their health goal.
We do see that a lot in what I do every day. People going, oh, I've trained so hard at the gym, so I deserve a Snickers bar or something like that. Is that something that you can help people with as well? That sort of negative sabotage?
Definitely. So, there's other ways of getting rewards. So probably the worst type of reward for a health goal is food. So probably looking to other rewards to reward themselves when they do well in gym would be a better alternative. So we can certainly reprogram those sorts of behaviours so that instead of looking to food for reward, they automatically look for something else that's healthier.
So you can actually make that reward, rather than it be, for example, a Snickers bar, make the reward maybe an activity that they enjoy instead?
Definitely.
Is that what you're saying?
Definitely.
Great, awesome.
It could be taking time out, it could be going to the movies, having a pampering treatment, anything at all.
Mind a little foot rub, something like that. So one of the things that you taught me was that I'm in charge of my own state. Can you elaborate on that, and how does that help people out there to be in charge of their life and get healthier?
Okay, so a state is pretty much a feeling. It's a technical term for a feeling, how we feel, and a state is important because our thoughts affect how we feel and therefore our behaviour. So if we have a negative thought about, oh, this is going to be really hard, we typically have a lack of motivation to do it because it's going to be too hard, and that prevents us from doing whatever it is we want to do, whether it be exercise or something else. So what we can do is help people change how they think, so it's positive, they have a positive state of feeling associated with that, and therefore a positive behaviour that they automatically do instead.
So when people say, oh, they made me feel that way, nobody actually made you feel anything. You choose what you feel. Is that what you're saying?
Definitely. Sometimes it may not feel like it does. Sometimes we may feel like we are at the effect of other people's responses and behaviours. So sometimes we may find ourselves overreact with emotion, and therefore it's easier to blame other people to have us feel that way, rather than to realise that it's actually us who are feeling the emotions. And the good news is, if we're feeling it, we can also then take responsibility to change it and make it the way we want.
Because we're in charge of ourselves.
We're in charge of ourselves, and we can then stop reacting to other people and handing over our power to other people.
So by taking your own responsibility, then you're actually taking on some self-power, self-empowerment.
Definitely. When we do take responsibility for how we think, feel and act, we become more powerful, as in terms of our internal power, and we become more in charge of how we think, feel and act, and therefore our result in life.
So Vesna, you've written a book as well,
Yes.
Stop Sabotaging Your Confidence.
That's
Is
right.
this kind of the basis of what you're talking about, that you can be more confident by taking control of these things?
Definitely, definitely. Over the last 14 or so years, I've noticed that clients at some point in their life have had confidence, and then they've sabotaged it in some shape or form. And there are over 35 different ways that people typically sabotage their confidence, one of which is negative self-talk. And so by knowing how to reprogram our thoughts and the way we feel, we can then take charge of having confidence anytime we want and keep it as well, which is important.
Cool. So what would you say are the top 5 things that people do to sabotage their confidence?
Definitely negative self-talk.
Number 1?
Number 1, yep. Blame.
Mm-hmm.
Blaming other people rather than taking responsibility for their emotions, as we've talked about. And number 3 is probably having a lot of emotions where they overreact. So any what I call negative emotions, emotions where people overreact with anger, fear, hurt, guilt, and so on, where they look back on their behaviour and think, why did I make a mountain out of a molehill? Why did I overreact in such a big way? Is a sign that the emotions are what we call out of proportion. And anytime there's a lot of those, it actually suppresses emotions like confidence. So the negative emotions suppress the confidence, the positive emotion.
Right.
So that's the third one.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth one are limiting beliefs. Beliefs like I can't do it, I'm not good enough, fear of failure, fear of success, fear of rejection, the list goes on.
Yeah,
So
see that a lot.
yes. So a whole bunch of beliefs can get in the way of people having the confidence that they do want. And then the fifth one, I guess there's a bit of a competition for the fifth spot.
Yeah.
But one of the ones when it comes to relationships in particular is people are not being flexible enough in the way they relate to other people. They're not adapting the style to the other person, so they have a lot of conflict and disagreement, and that can reduce their confidence in having productive personal and professional relationships.
So that sort of thing would really help you more in the corporate sort of area as well, with people management and change and stuff?
Definitely. As well as personally as well, with family, friends, partners and so on.
Right,
Because,
so in the household, maybe getting along better with your partner, that sort of thing, understanding how they think, talk.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay,
Yes.
interesting, excellent. So how does all of this help someone become healthier?
It's called the mind-body connection, simply put. So, and a lot of people will say, why do I need to work on my mind to improve my health? How are the two related? The mind-body connection is very simply put, every single thought we have affects every single cell inside of us. And that's because there's a chemical in between every cell and in the cells called neurotransmitter, which pretty much transmits thoughts from one cell to the other. So anytime we wake up in the morning feeling really happy, every single cell inside of us is happy, and our physiology is more upright.
Yep, yep.
And on the other side is when we wake up feeling not so good, sort of flat and unhappy. Every single cell inside of us is feeling flat and unhappy, and so our physiology tends to be more slouchy. You've probably seen that as well. People turning up to your classes, or well, hopefully the former.
Yeah, but sometimes you do see people coming on in, and you just look at them and go, oh boy, like today's going to have to be a little bit lower tone session, we're going to have to really work on uplifting them a little bit, that sort of thing.
Yes.
So you really do see that.
Definitely, definitely.
Okay, so you also use a technique called timeline therapy, and as well you use hypnosis.
That's correct.
So is timeline therapy just like another name for hypnosis, and what are they? And can you really make people cluck like a chicken?
Okay, so there's a few questions there.
That's a really important one. I want to know about the clucking.
The clucking. Okay. So the short answer with the clucking, yes, we can if people want to cluck like chickens.
Bring out their inner chicken.
That's it.
Right.
And some people are naturally extroverted, and these are the people that will do, the crazy things at parties, and they'll be up on the tables dancing, and they'll be out there anyway.
Yeah.
And so the people that tend to cluck like chickens will be doing extroverted things anyway at parties.
Right.
So hypnosis is simply a way of helping people tap into their inner selves, and just uses the natural personality to help them do things better. So if they're naturally introverted, We definitely wouldn't suggest that they cluck like chickens, because I would refuse to do that. We would work to their style and help them to do things that, maybe improving their exercise, improving their eating habits, improving how they think in terms of their motivation level, so they do go to the gym or come and see you more often.
So you're saying that hypnosis just enhances what's inside?
Absolutely.
So if you are a bit of a loony and like to do party tricks, then you can enhance that if you want to.
If
Is
you
that
want
what you
to.
say?
If you want to. But typically, people wouldn't come to me and say, I want you to help me be more of a out there party extroverted person. Most people will come in that are more introverted and want to be more confident and more extroverted.
Yeah.
A little bit more, not all the way up there necessarily.
So we don't really want to enhance like crazy behaviour.
Well, any change we make needs to be what we call safe and ecological and responsible. So sometimes really out there behaviour may not be safe for the person. So.
Yeah, all the people around them.
That's it.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, cool. So I've got a question for you.
Please.
The me of a few years ago would have sort of said that this kind of stuff is all really airy-fairy, being able to hypnotise someone, that sort of thing, help them change stuff.
Sure.
And there's these things in the timeline therapy and that comes up about being in the womb or past lifetimes that are affecting you now.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to say about that to the skeptics?
Well, I used to be a skeptic myself as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like 14, 15 years ago when I first started, before I started a business in this field. Mm-hmm. And when I first experienced it, I thought, no, this can't be. And the more I'm working in this field, I realise that it's simply symbolic. All these memories are simply symbolic. And so from our point of view, we don't get into discussion about the events that happen in the womb or past life real or not. We don't go into interpreting them. The whole purpose is to understand the learning. It's very important to learn from emotions, learn from beliefs, so we can let them go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the only thing we do really. Where the client goes back to when they were 3 years old or 20 years old or something that happened 3 generations ago or a past life, in a sense is irrelevant because in all cases the whole purpose is to learn from the event and to let go of the emotion. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the timeline therapy uses visualization techniques.
It does.
What about the people who don't really visualise stuff much?
Well, you see, everybody visualises. From my experience, everyone visualises because anytime we think about what if something goes wrong, we're pretty much visualising that in our mind.
Yeah.
Anytime we dread doing something before we do it, we are imagining it turning out not so good in our mind. So we're constantly visualising, we just tend not to be consciously aware of the fact that we're doing it. And visualisation can happen in different ways. People think they have to clearly see a picture and an image in their mind in order to visualise. Mm-hmm. Often it could be, self-talk. It could be the way we talk to ourselves. It could be a combination of senses, taste, smells, sounds, pictures, and so on that forms a visualisation. So it's not just images.
So is that kind of like meditation as well? Because I used to have a big issue with meditation. That'd be like, imagine a big red shiny apple, and I couldn't bring it into my mind's eye. Mm-hmm. But what if I was thinking about a big shiny red apple, for example?
You could.
Still the thing?
Yes.
Still the same thing?
Same thing. I think the word visualise has a connotation for some people. Mm-hmm. Some people think I have to clearly see this image in my mind when I visualise, rather than just think about it.
Okay, so how does the mental imagery of timeline therapy convert to real life changes?
Very good question, because they've done research scientifically to show that the mind is unable to differentiate between what's vividly imagined and what's real. And so if we vividly imagine worst case scenarios, it basically happens, becomes self-fulfilling. If we imagine best case scenarios, it can also become self-fulfilling. So it works on that principle. If we program our mind for positive visualizations, we help create self-fulfilling positive behaviours.
So is this sort of a similar thing that they use with elite athletes when they're visualising their win and that sort of thing?
Definitely. Top sports people actually use the visualisation techniques, or they call it mental rehearsal. Mm-hmm. Actually, mental rehearsal is a good substitute for the term visualisation because you can mentally rehearse by thinking. Yeah. So they mentally rehearse the game before the game.
Awesome. So you don't have to be an elite athlete to take advantage of these really cool techniques.
No.
it's not just for winning gold medals, it's for winning your own little achievements at the same time.
Exactly, getting to your goals, whatever they may be, improving performance at work, relationships, any area of life where you want to be able to excel, it's great to get you there.
Oh, awesome. So how does this benefit over talking about the issue? Because we're talking about me visualising it. So I'm not actually telling you about my issue. Is that correct?
Yes, it is correct. There is a little bit of understanding of the issue before we get into the visualization, because we need to know what we're working on. So
I don't have to bare my deep dark secrets to you or anything.
Not to the same extent as you would with more traditional therapy, no. We need to understand a little bit of history for the purpose of identifying the patterns. Once we identify the patterns, we stop the talking, if you like. With all due respect to the client and the history, but we then get straight into working on making the changes on the subconscious level.
Okay, so if someone were to come and see you, what exactly should they expect from a session to make these changes?
Okay, first of all, avoid thinking there's a magic pill. These techniques work very, very quickly, and some people think, they'll just come to the practitioner, and the practitioner has a magic pill, and they just sit there and don't need to do anything, and the practitioner will do all the work. So it's very important for the client to realise right up front that there is a mutual responsibility going on here. The client and the practitioner are working together to identify the issues and deal with them, because obviously it's, you need each other's help to do it. Secondly, the client then needs to make sure that after they let go of the past, they focus on the here and now, as well as what they want in the future. If they keep dwelling on the past, well, you get what you focus on. You just bring it back into your present. And thirdly, the client needs to take some different action. There may be a change of lifestyle required. So, for example, if somebody was to come for weight loss, and if they say, oh, just help me change my beliefs around it, and then I won't need to do any exercise, and I'll keep eating sugar and carbs,
it's not going to work.
It's not going to work. No. It needs to be a holistic approach.
So you can change the person's approach to healthy foods being boring, for example, to being that healthy foods are tasty.
Yes.
Yep. But they still need to go and eat the healthy foods instead of the sugary foods.
Well, once they have a different perception of the food, the healthy food, they'll have a natural motivation to go for the healthy food.
Yeah.
So obviously they still need to buy it. With the motivation there, it's a lot easier to go and buy it rather than the unhealthy food.
Brilliant. So why would someone see an NLP practitioner over the more conventional, as you said, so psychiatry or what would be more benefit?
Alright, so it really does depend on the client. Each client is different. Some people love to talk about things and like to work through things that way. So the biggest difference is twofold. Number one, from an NLP point of view, we're working on a subconscious level. So making change on a subconscious level, in which case change is very quick. So we don't need months or years of therapy to make a change. It can be a number of sessions or even an hour, depending on the change we're making. So it's very quick. So quite different in terms of time frame, because more traditional therapy works on a conscious analytical level, which is the talking, the analysing, wanting to understand and make sense of it, which is very challenging because often these things don't make sense. Things that have happened are irrational, and so to make sense out of them can take a bit of time and not get you very far.
And I know when I'm talking about things, if I tell a story a couple of times, I'll tell it slightly differently each time.
Sure.
So from what you remember, because you can only remember, 134 bits per second?
Yes.
So how many things do we actually see?
Well, we aim data with 2 million bits per second.
Yeah.
And 134 bits per second is what our brain takes in, so there's quite a lot we delete.
And then how much can we actually talk about in one instance?
Exactly, yeah.
So there can be a lot of talking about one particular situation from a number of angles.
Yes, and so what tends to happen is the more the client talks, and this is also the feedback I've had from people who've done more traditional therapies as well, the more they talk, the worse they feel because they get caught up in the emotion and they get reconnected with the experience and get traumatized again. So it can be more traumatic for some clients to keep talking about it.
So in the instance where you don't kind of want to relive it so much,
Yes.
NLP would be a better choice.
If people want to learn from it and move on quickly, then definitely that's the faster way to move on and the more safe and comfortable way, less traumatic way of doing it, definitely, yes.
Okay, so you mentioned weight loss clients before. Is that your main clientele, or what sort of clientele do you have mostly?
3 different types of clientele. The first one, I work with people in business. I work with individuals, teams and leaders to improve their performance, sales or otherwise. Secondly, work with people like yourselves, Larissa, who want to learn the techniques of NLP and so on to help other people improve their health and so on. So other practitioners or potential practitioners. And thirdly, individuals who want more confidence and success in all areas of life. So a bit of variety in my practice.
Keeps it exciting.
Sure does, sure does.
So we mentioned before that you've been published.
Yes.
Is all of this in that book?
A lot more. A lot more, yes. So the book is actually like a course the reader takes themselves through. They go through a process of identifying exactly how they're sabotaging their confidence at the moment, and then they go through the process of getting the confidence back and using a whole series of exercises to get the confidence back and keep it as well. So they can keep referring back to that book. It's like a workbook to keep them on track.
So is there tasks and that's set out for them to do?
Lots of exercises from the book.
Exciting. Sounds pretty good value.
Well, I think so.
Well, we have Vesna's book available on the store if you'd like to go and get your copy. If there's anything else that you'd like to let people know about before we go today, Vesna?
That's pretty much it, Larissa. Obviously, if people want to get some help with their health, Larissa's a great practitioner, recently certified, so come well recommended.
Lovely. Well, thanks very much for joining us today. If you've got any questions for Vesna, please comment below and I'll forward them on to her and we'll get a reply back as soon as possible, hopefully.
Definitely.
Thanks very much, Vesna.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.